Welcome back to week 1. This week we are exploring the normative and theoretical basis for the protection of freedom of expression. Why should we value free speech? We've looked at several theories, including that on the search for truth, the theory on the importance of freedom of expression for good governance, for proper government decision making. And we've also looked at a third theory, which is that through freedom of expression, we build tolerant society. That, as I had mentioned in a previous segment, is a very complex theory, but we are very lucky in that the person behind it is with us today. It is President Lee Bollinger of Columbia University, very well-known, noted First Amendment scholar, and the author of The Tolerant Society. And President Bollinger will explain to us what brought him to developing this very interesting and creative approach to why we should value free speech. So we're very fortunate to have you here because most of the theorists we have considered are all dead from the 18th and 19th centuries. So it's fantastic to be able to talk to you directly and particularly about this theory, which, as you know, is something that I am very interested in personally. But before jumping into tolerance and free speech, I was wondering whether you could tell us a little bit more about your personal views on the other theories, the other doctrines regarding free speech, particularly the importance of the search for truth, personal autonomy, or the importance of building good governance through free speech.
So, as you say, Agnes, there have been 3 primary theories about freedom of speech that have developed over many centuries, but really crystallized in the United States in the cases going back 100 years now, almost 100 years. The search for truth is a classic kind of way of thinking about freedom of speech and press. And the notion is that you cannot really hope to achieve over time an understanding of what is truth without having the opportunity to test your ideas, to hear ideas, to discuss things with people, to think freely, and that we value truth so much that we are prepared to live in a society that may seem somewhat chaotic and may actually be dangerous at times and may be offensive at times, but our commitment to understanding the truth and all that will come from that requires this kind of openness. I am very attracted to that idea. Mm-hmm. I think anybody in sort of modern life feels that is the basis of a good life. Mm-hmm. The second theory, and I think the one that has most captured the essence of freedom of speech and press in the last 50 years, and the one we're really working with today, I think, is the primary theory, is that if you're committed to a democracy, if you're committed to self-government, then you really have to allow the public to be able to debate, to express their views, and to come up with what they think the policies and practices of the government should be. So it follows from a commitment to democracy that you will then have a commitment to free speech. The third rationale, and I think probably it's fair to say the least subscribed to, at least in the jurisprudence of free speech, is that free speech expression is part of the essence of being a human being, part of our sense of self-determination, part of our sense of our own autonomy, and that you don't have to justify free speech by looking at the benefits to society of truth or democracy or good policies. It really springs from what it means to be human, and that is sufficient to justify the principles that we have. My own view is that the search for truth and the self-government democracy rationales are the most, I think, they're the soundest, really, for modern life. And I think that's principally because the appeal of those notions, of those principles, has struck a chord with both not only judges, but I think the broader society, and has brought about a collective commitment to this that I think is very valuable. So those are the theories. That's my general view.